god. Yay. Fuck it. Buat je lah apa nak. It's recording. Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Faris and it's Ramadan. The year 2024. Right now it is Ramadan, and honestly speaking, I just wanted to make a video about it. Wanted to talk about my experience as well as talking about some thoughts that I have during this month. So this is going to be a video that I will call Ramadan Reflections, I would say. You know, we're near, right now is the 31st of March and we're nearing to the last 10 days of Ramadan. So with this, I hope that I could do justice with my creative output to basically make more videos, I would say. So for today's video, I just wanted to talk about, my Ramadan reflections, defining Ramadan, as well as certain topics that are kind of weird, such as death, parentless kids, and the virtue of patience. So this Ramadan, as per every Ramadan, I was born Muslim and I was raised Muslim and I grew up being a Muslim. And I would say that getting into my mid-20s at this point, I've been really trying to really understand my religion, especially because it's not really easy, especially when you're at that point where you're at the crossroads of where you want to go, where you want to do. You could either go right or left, and depending on the video, you're going to probably be looking at it in a different way. So I just wanted to talk about defining Ramadan, because in Malaysia especially, korang tahulah kan, kita pandang Ramadan and we look at Ramadan as just the 30 days that we can't eat and we can't drink during the day. Some of us still do, especially at my age. Why? Aku tak faham korang, macam mana korang boleh still tak puasa? Umur 20 lebih still tak nak puasa. Are you dumb, fam? Look at me trying to use an accent. But yeah, especially during this age that I'm in, Ramadan has been kind of conflicting, I would say. It's not really a problem, it's more of an issue that I see, because rather than other than the story of the Prophet and how Ramadan is such a significant time for us as Muslims, and especially what's going on in the world with Palestine and all the problems that we have in the world right now, Ramadan really gives us a time and also a space for us to reflect upon what's going on in our lives. I will say that Ramadan has been a time that me as a person, I've always looked fondly upon, because it's not really just about the starvation and it's not really just about abstaining myself from doing the habits that I know I'm not supposed to do. It's about me understanding that I have an innate responsibility, not to just my religion and not to just God and all the people around me, but to myself. Can I stay consistent with my goals? Can I do all the things that I say I wanted to do? Can I achieve what I say I wanted to achieve? Heck, aku rasa as a Malay man, especially in Malaysia, for a fact, every time Ramadan comes, there's going to be an eclectic group of your friends yang akan kata, aku akan habiskan Quran, aku akan solat tarawih setiap malam, solat takkan tinggal, aku akan habiskan semua benda ni. Tapi tak jadi apa pun. It comes to a point, sejujurnya, it comes to a point where you just kind of think to yourself, are we lying to ourselves at this point? Kita dah berumur and we're still saying this shit. Sorry for my words, but honestly, especially during this Ramadan, I've been busy, with work, and especially my religious obligations and my work obligations, as well as my familial or my family, I don't know if I'm using the right word or not, but my family obligations as well. It becomes apparent that you really have to stay disciplined. And especially me as a person, I've been really getting into self-development, for a while now, and looks like I haven't been developing anything, but it seems apparent to me that when it comes to you doing what you're supposed to do, especially during this time, it's It's about staying consistent with the efforts that you want to do. Ramadan now, especially when it comes, after Tarawih and everything, some of your friends will invite you to More, and some of your friends would actually go out and lead their normal lives at night. But the one thing that I always see, which becomes consistent with my generation, and especially the Muslims nowadays, is we try to separate Ramadan from our natural Muslim lifestyle. What I mean by that is, during Ramadan, you will try to make as many efforts as you can, and you'll do whatever you want, and you'll do whatever you can to even get there. But the moment Ramadan ends, these people go back to the same things. Like, I've always studied and I've always known that the habits and the things that you do during Ramadan are supposed to carry upon everything that you do throughout the year. You're not meant to just stop at one place. You're meant to continue constantly. And especially me being at my age now, I'm wiser now. I think I'm wiser, I assume, and I've had more life experience. I see that your habits create your reality. So during this time, we're in a not really forceful, but we're in a necessary time in our lives during this year where we're supposed to be more religious. We're supposed to be interested in growing our deen, in Islam anyways, right? And sometimes I see that as a people, as Muslims, as Malays, as Malaysians, tak kisahlah nak pandang mana pun, we tend to separate Ramadan from our normal lives because we, to a sense, I don't know why, but to a sense it almost feels like we look at Ramadan as a stop to our natural life. But in fact, it should be an enhancer to our normal lives. It should be the continuity of our lives after Ramadan. We're supposed to continue having these habits. We're supposed to continue being better as humans, as Muslims, as people. But it almost seems like we separated. And I think with how Ramadan has always been, it's like in Ramadan we're not meant, especially as Muslims, we're not meant to waste. We're not meant to be wasteful. We're not meant to be boastful. We're not meant to be any of those bad things, quote unquote, right? But during Ramadan we have the most food waste. During Ramadan we have the most nightly activities, which is true, because Ramadan is also the time when the night is live and everything. But it seems more and more disconnected from the fabric of our lives because we see it as an event, which is true, it is an event. But rather than seeing it as an event that is supposed to give benefit to our lives, we see it as an event that takes away from our lives just because we can't eat, drink, smoke, whatever you want to do in the morning or during the day. All you have to do is just stay and don't do those things until Maghrib. After that, you can do whatever the hell you want. So I see it as that, and I hope that with the ongoing, how time passes in our lives, I hope that we as people can actually be more considerate of Ramadan, of how we are supposed to live, and how this is actually very interconnected with our lives. And especially during this Ramadan, going into the other topic, which is earlier during this Ramadan, my uncle passed away. I've never really been foreign to the idea of death. I've never really been a foreigner to people leaving. But to experience death is a very nuanced, it's a very weird feeling. I cried during my grandmother's, funeral. I cried during my grandfather's funeral. I cried at my friend's funeral. I cried at a lot of people's funerals, and I know I'm still going to be crying in more funerals. But what is surprising to me is the fact that that like Instagram postings, or like when people post on Facebook or whatever, when people say, you gotta work, you gotta create your own reality, because after you die, your job is just gonna replace you. Yeah, that's true. your job is going to replace you, as well as other people. The other people are also going to replace you. And the thing that will never replace you, or the people who will never replace you, are your family members and the people that really care about you. Especially especially after your passing, after you pass away, there's really nothing holding them back from finding who you were in other people. You're meant to be a part of people's journey, a part of people's journeys, anyways. And what surprises me the most is the fact that even in death, there will always be that level of pettiness amongst people. Like in Malaysia, what's most common is when people pass away, they will hold like the morning, not morning pagi, morning like at people's houses or at the mosque or somewhere where the community and their families can come together and give their final rites and final goodbyes before burying them in the ground. What surprises me and what actually makes me feel kind of perplexed about, of course at this point of age I'm going to be perplexed about it, but after I grow up more and have more life experience, I'm probably going to have an answer to this. And who knows, by that point I might be dead. People are going to replace me. People are going to find me in other people. Just like how a son loses his father, they're going to find a father figure somewhere else. It's just a parent. As well as knowing that when you die, your girlfriend is probably going to find who you were in other people. It might not be the best picture, it might not be like the most complete picture of who you were as a person, but then again, who's there to stop you? Well, who's there to stop them in finding you in other people? No one. Especially when my uncle passed away, he left children and also a son that is 7 years old. Me seeing this whole thing going around and me seeing how this happens, it just leaves me in awe and question of like, how will my death be? How will people react when I die? And I know it's a bit eerie when I ask these questions to myself. Memang lah bunyi eerie sangat kan. Tapi honestly speaking, you have to start asking those questions as you get older. I've always had this fantasy of wanting to live life like a music video, as some people would call it. One day you're in a mess and then suddenly you're on a jet plane to Ibiza and then you're just jumping to EDM music. In reality, that doesn't happen. And in reality, truthfully, you're meant to go through shit. You're meant to go through problems. You're meant to go through hardship. You're meant to go through pain. But some people would rather live in a fantasy, and I understand that. And I'm not saying that's bad, but it shouldn't be expected. No matter, even if you're the richest person in the world, nobody can party their whole life. Nobody can party their whole life without having some serious problems. Heck, I've seen especially where I'm at now, I've seen friends of mine who are at this age where we're supposed to have more focus on other aspects of our lives rather than our quote-unquote youth. I see them messing up their lives, and I see them going through the problems that they have with their lives, and to be honest, it's not really the best. It's not really that fun when you look at it. Some of them still have financial problems. Heck, I have financial problems. Some have relationship problems. Heck, I have relationship problems. More towards the lacking of a relationship. But who's counting? I start asking the question, is it really worth going about messing with that problem, knowing that you should be focused and knowing that when you die, you're gonna leave a memory to people. Just like, in the Malay culture and also in the Islamic culture, I don't think it's Islamic, but I think it's more Malay, but correct me if I'm wrong, but people often say to know if someone was good, look at the people that come to their funeral. To see how impactful that person was, look at who comes to their funeral. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I was cut off slightly. My computer, damn you. Kau jahat kacau aku. But yeah, continuing my train of thought, like in the Islamic culture, we have this concept. Like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, Islamic or Malay culture, I'm not sure, but we have this concept of, to know how good a person is, look at who comes to their funeral. Which is a very apparent point of view, honestly speaking, because you don't know how good that person is. We live our lives without having any type of recognition or even feedback about how good we live it until we die. No, don't get me wrong, even after we die, yeah, that guy might be influential outside, but when they get questioned by the angel of death, they're gonna be seen as like, oh, you actually didn't do this. And even in the akhirat, you're gonna be questioned differently, you're gonna be shown differently your deeds and your sins. It just goes to show that you don't really have a control over anything other than how you act, how you are with people, how you go about your lives, how you decide to behave at that point in your life. Even if you make mistakes, in Islam also believe in repentance, but repentance often comes with pain in realizing how badly you affected people. Because there's a lot of Muslim scholars and a lot of imams say that to know if Allah has truly repented you, one of the telltale signs is that you fall sick. That's one of the telltale signs, apparently. And I'm not saying that I know any better, I'm just quoting them. Correct me if I'm wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But you will have a different point of view of life once you understand that you could die at any time. You could die at any point in your life. You could die. I could die tomorrow. Wallahi. And I will still question. And at that time before I die, I'm gonna be questioning. I'm gonna be questioning myself. Have I done enough? And that's why there's, like, even in the Quran it says, when the sinner is confronted by God, he says, Ya Rab, please take me back, give me a day, give me a minute, let me repent. And me saying this is a reminder to myself, because I'm not that good of a Muslim, I'm not that good of a man that in itself, I have a lot of things I need to fix, and I have a lot of things I'm currently working on to fix myself, to make myself better. But you often have to go through that level of pain and that level of suffering for you to even get there. And heck, even in the journey of the prophets, and you know what? I'm gonna make this evergreen. In the journey of a hero, in the journey of someone who is trying to achieve something, in the journey of greatness, pain has always been apparent. The knight has to slay the dragon. The king has to dethrone other kings. Have to lose like their family members, and like Naruto has to lose his family. He has to lose his family members. He gotta lose his sensei. He gotta lose his friend, and then get back his friend. And now apparently he's losing his son. Damn you, Boruto. But the hero's journey in itself is about pain. It's about the amount of pain you're willing to go through. Heck, look at people who have achieved greatness, people who have achieved accolades in their lives. We look up to them because they're willing to do something that we aren't willing to. They're willing to go through the suffering, they're willing to do all the things that we're not willing to go through, and we look at them with admiration. We look at them as like, wow, it's this guy, or it's, let's say it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's Anderson Silva, it's Khabib Nurmagomedov. We look at them with admiration because they're willing to go through the pain and suffering that we inherently as humans know. Because pain and suffering, as well as growth and effort, is shown not only through the face, through the body, through whatever. It shows in how you carry yourself. A beginner will always come and walk like a beginner. A professional will always come and walk like a professional. And you can tell the difference. That's why when we look at people with muscles on their bodies, and that's why when we see people who are muscular, who have some kind of physical achievement, we look at them with like wow, or even admiration, because we know what it takes to get there. We know that it's gonna have an impact not to just that, it's also to ourselves. We know that. But why don't we take that choice? Why don't we make the effort? Why don't we actually take the initiative to do that? Because, and I see it from this perspective, which is a lack of patience. Honestly speaking, is a lack of patience. I wouldn't even say discipline. Discipline is just one component of it. I mean, it covers the whole thing, of course. But patience especially is the biggest thing. How patient can you be? How patient can you be when you're going through that level of hardship? How much patience can you have when your parents pass away? How much patience can you have when you're broke? How much patience can you have when nothing ever goes right? How much patience can you have when shit just hits the fan? How much patience can you have during that time? How much patience can you have when things just fall out of place and you're meant to restructure everything? Do you have the patience to go through it? Do you have the patience to reassemble everything, knowing that you're probably gonna fuck it up again, and knowing that you're probably gonna have to restart again? Do you have the patience to go through the pain? Do you have the patience to actually look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that you are making effort and you are getting growth from it, knowing that it's not showing up how you want it to be shown? Do you have the patience to do so? Honestly, because that is the one component that always fucks people up. Patience. Why must things be like 6 minutes? You know for a fact 2-minute Maggi noodles is not the same as your mom's day's worth of dinner. How she cooks dinner throughout the whole day. She gave her blood, sweat and tears to make that meal. You know for a fact that meal is gonna be more satisfying, more satiating, and more nourishing to the soul than 2-minute Maggi cup noodles. It's not the same. That's why when we see people who suddenly achieve greatness, like, wow, but at the back of our heads, you're gonna lose it soon. But when we see someone work their ass off, you have no other option but to respect it. You have no other option but to say, you know what? Props to you. There's no going back from there. There's no going against the grain when it comes to that, because you know it and I know it. It's how life works. Patience is the one thing that will separate men from boys and men from legends. We lack patience. And going back to this whole circle of an issue that I'm talking about, or this circle of a reflection that I'm talking about, Ramadan truly is the one thing that we can hold to cultivate patience. If everything falls to shit, we have patience. Patience to go through the struggles of life. Patience to go through the challenges of life. Patience to go through the hurdles that life gives us. It just goes to show that when you have that level of patience, especially when you want to cultivate it during Ramadan, you're in the best time possible. It's almost like you're in a hyperbolic time chamber, you know, like Dragon Ball shit. You're being given an opportunity to cultivate habits that's gonna carry on until the end of the year, and inshallah until the end of your life. You don't know how long that's gonna be. Heck, like I said, throughout this whole video, you could die tomorrow. You could die fucking tomorrow. Kau boleh mati esok. But you gotta have the patience to build it irregardless. And here's the funniest thing as well. Allah doesn't want you to be perfect. Going into the Muslim belief in me, Allah doesn't want you to be perfect. Allah wants you to try. That's the biggest takeaway from me. Allah doesn't want you to be perfect. Allah wants you to try. Honestly speaking, that's a breath of fresh air. You know, growing up as Muslim, we're often said, oh, Allah akan benci engkau, Allah akan murka engkau. In all reality, Allah just wants you to try. Of course, try your best. Pray 5 times a day, do your zakat, you know, perform the 5 pillars. Do your best. You know, 5 pillars or 6. Like I said, it's been a while. Lillahi ta'ala, forgive me, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not above being corrected. It's funny to know because we live in a time in where not being perfect often comes with repercussions of failure or even separation. Patience is the one and only thing that will separate you from the life that you want. And during this Ramadan, I think it's a lesson that I needed to learn, because it comes a time in your life where you realize that you have to make that willing effort to change your life. So yeah, that's for this Ramadan reflection, I guess. So I hope if you guys watched this whole video, I'm gonna upload this whole thing unedited because maybe I'll just add some music at the back. I just wanted to share this message because trying is better than never trying at all. Just my honest opinion. Anyways, talk to you guys soon. Take care. Sorry, before I go, Assalamu alaikum. Take care, stay safe, and be well. See you guys next time.